Hello, everyone. Allan Thompson again in Kigali, Rwanda. I'm here for the 25th anniversary of the beginning of the Rwanda genocide, April 6th and 7th, 1994, believe it or not. And it's been a really emotional sort of roller coaster of a day. So I just wanted to quickly catch people up on what's been happening here. I've also been posting some material to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and other places. When I'm done here, I'm going to go back to my room and write up a longer account of the day. But just to say, it's been really quite a remarkable day. I started first thing this morning. In a way, I'm trying to retrace some of the steps of what was happening exactly 25 years ago at this moment here in Kigali, in the Rwandan capital. So this morning I decided to go to what they now call the Belgian Memorial, and it's was a military camp, Camp Kigali. And for those who know the storyline very well, this is the place where 10 Belgian soldiers were killed in the first hours of the genocide. They had been taken by Rwandan military, brought to this camp, and the 10 of them were essentially tortured and killed over the course of that morning. And this story is very relevant because Romeo Dallaire at the time was trying to get through that area in Kigali to reach a meeting of the military high command. He was trying to meet with Theonest Bagosora, who's now recognized as having been one of the organizers of the genocide. And at the time, Dallaire was driven past that camp and had seen a glimpse of a uniform of a Belgian soldier and was adamant that the soldier that was driving him, it was a Rwandan officer who had picked him up, who would take him back to that place and let him try to help. And he wouldn't do that. And Dallaire ended up being taken to the meeting with Bagosora. At the same time, all 10 of the Belgians were killed. Several of them managed to barricade themselves inside a guardhouse and fought for their lives. But at some point in the morning, they too were killed. A grenade was tossed into the room and took their lives. So that now is a memorial to the Belgian soldiers. There are 10 pillars there that recognize those 10 soldiers. And the building where these three had taken refuge before they were finally killed has been left in its original condition: bullet holes, a pock mark in the floor of this place where the grenade had come in and where they were killed. So it's pretty amazing to be there, literally 25 years to the minute, between 10:30 in the morning and 11 when those events were happening. So I wanted to be there. Then in the afternoon, there was a walk of remembrance from the parliament buildings to the stadium. And typically in Rwanda, when they mark the anniversary of the genocide, there's a big gathering in the stadium, the Amahoro Stadium, which at the time of the genocide, that's where Romeo Dallaire's UN headquarters was, right beside the stadium. And tens of thousands of people had taken refuge in that stadium at the time, and it became a bit of a safe zone where Dallaire and his forces really did save the lives of tens of thousands of people who were in that stadium. So that's the scene for the vigil when they mark the anniversary on April the 7th. So this time they marched from the parliament buildings, and it's about a kilometer down the road until you reach the stadium. And the president, Paul Kagame, led the march. I managed to get myself down to the bottom of the road, and I could see his security. My days on Parliament Hill, I remember when you see the security guys with things in their ears, you know the president's coming. So I got into the right place, and when Kagame arrived, I was able to say hello. And we'd met before, but I know he won't remember me. But say hello and tell him that I'm thinking about Rwandans at this time. And the march itself, thousands of people marching up the road, where 25 years ago, this afternoon and evening, there would have been massacres taking place. But then the most remarkable thing was the vigil in the stadium. So when we marched there, there were thousands of us who came. They had kept a section of the seating empty for those who came in the march, But when we came into the stadium, and it's a circular stadium, a football stadium, it was full of people. I think in total there were probably 25 or 30,000 people filling the stadium. And there were some speeches, mostly from genocide survivors who gave testimonies about their experiences. One man who lost every member of his family. He was the only survivor of his family. He spoke about how when he married and had 4 children, he named the 4 children for each of his siblings who had passed away. But really the most incredible thing was when they had a moment, and I don't know, for me, this was like the candlelight service at St. Paul's Presbyterian Church. We all had the same little candles, have been given to everyone in the stadium. And the president went down onto the floor of the stadium and lit a candle. And then the candles just started lighting up all the way around this stadium. It was really, really powerful. There must have been 10, 15,000 candles that were being held. And the funny thing was, there were a lot of people holding up their phones with the flashlight showing on the phone. So it gives you a bit of an insight into modern day Rwanda. Everyone's got a mobile phone. So for some of them, the candle was the light on their phone. I just couldn't help thinking when I was sitting there, thinking about Gabriel Kagaba and his daughter Justine. They were killed on April the 11th, a few days into the genocide, the people that I've written about. But especially looking out into that stadium and seeing probably 10,000, 15,000 candles being held, it just suddenly dawned on me, that's roughly the number of people who were killed in the first 1 or 2 days of the genocide. So you suddenly realize every one of those candles in this stadium is a human being and represents somebody who was massacred in the first hours of those events. So it's been a pretty incredible day, and I'm just really, really glad to be here. And I especially have to thank, really the reason I'm able to be here is the Center for International Governance Innovation, CG, in Waterloo. They funded the project that led to the book that I have edited, Media and Mass Atrocity, the Rwanda Genocide and Beyond. That book has been released this weekend and is now available. And I'm here for the commemoration events. Later in the week, we'll go to Johannesburg in South Africa for a book launch, and then to London in the UK at the Frontline Club on the way home, then in Ottawa and in Washington and probably some other places. So I really have to thank CG for making this possible, publishing the book, funding this trip, and allowing me to be here, essentially to return to the scene of the crime. And it's a really powerful experience. Every time, I mean, I'm sitting outdoors at the hotel on the patio, every time I look out into the darkness, you can just imagine 25 years ago, right now, at this moment, what was happening. So that's a good place to end. So thank you. And again, I'll be posting to a bunch of social media platforms and probably doing something again later in the week. Thanks very much. Good night.